Boo, motherfuckers.
God damn.
Hello, Branch listeners. Welcome to our podcast. I'm Maddie.
I'm Doug.
That ghost over there is Doug.
It's our Spook-tacular.
Spoopy-sode.
Yeah. Because, you know.
Halloween.
And shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Get spooky. So we wanted to start off this episode talking about all things paranormal and scary.
And Paranorman.
Paranorman is a great movie.
It is a great movie. Yeah, this episode is basically like our equivalent of like the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah.
So lots of little shorts that I'm wearing.
Yes. It's our holiday episode because this is the only holiday that we believe in.
Yeah. And, you know, 2 months you hear a Christmas episode, shut your mouth.
Just
Just mind your business.
So let's jump into some scary stories that we have heard via the internet.
Yeah.
The internet is the scariest thing of all.
The internet's terrifying. Yeah, so actually, I found these 2 stories on Reddit. So this is how you know it's real.
Right.
And have only cursorily read them. So, yeah, I guess I'll just jump into the first. The first one here is by Reddit user Fuzzy Bandits with a Z. It says, when I was a teenager, I used to babysit my cousin Alyssa. Oh. She was little, maybe almost 2, maybe a little older, old enough to say sentences. We get it. I'm giving her a bath before bed when she looks out into the hallway and gets a terrified look on her face and starts crying. At this moment, my aunt's Pomeranian starts going nuts as well, which I'm sure was an isolated incident.
Probably.
Yeah, Pomeranians are usually calm. At this moment, my aunt's Pomeranian starts going nuts as well, barking and growling into the hallway. The atmosphere in the room became uncomfortable, and I started getting scared. I took her downstairs from the 3rd floor in the townhouse to try and calm her down. I asked her what was wrong, and she said something along the lines of, the man with the black eyes was there.
Holy shit.
Yeah, chills. When I continued to pry, she looked up at the 2nd floor stairs, her eyes getting big, and looks at me, bringing her finger up to her mouth and said, shh, while shaking her head no. That's it.
That's the whole story?
That's the whole story. I feel like they left us, like, at the climax.
Right, well, I feel like there is more that would happen after this. Why wouldn't they finish it?
Yeah, like, what happened with the man with black eyes?
He died. He killed him.
Yeah, is this really the man with the black eyes typing it?
I mean, it must be.
Holy
Maybe
shit.
the man with the black eyes took over the consciousness of this dude.
Of Fuzzy Bandits.
Yes, Fuzzy Bandits. And was like, you know what?
Maybe the man with the black eyes is a Fuzzy Bandit.
I think so.
Oh my
He's
God.
a bandit. He's a bandit of other people's eyes.
I will tell you unequivocally, children are creepy.
Full stop. End of podcast. The end.
That's it.
Children are creepy.
Children just do creepy shit. I remember my niece Violet was, God, how did they say it here? Maybe 2, maybe a little older, old enough to say sentences around that age.
Around that age. We get it. We understand.
She had an imaginary friend, but it just kind of got weird because the imaginary friend was like adult height. I almost said human height. Adult height.
Because children are creepy. They're not real humans.
They're not humans. And then, like, anytime we'd be like, so what is your imaginary friend's name? And she would say, well, he says Puddintain, ask me again and I'll tell you the same. And it's like, it's just creepy that you have this imaginary friend that refuses to tell you
their name. That is very creepy.
Yeah, so kids are creepy.
So the rest of the podcast is us just telling normal kid stories.
Yeah.
And being like, oh,
and then
they're
they
so
threw
scary.
a tantrum. So that was quite the story.
But I feel like it's made up because they didn't finish the story.
Yeah, I feel like Pixar didn't happen, kid. Like, right. I think it's easy to come up with a half-assed half story.
Like, this is a great premise, but finish the story.
Yeah, I would downvote this.
Mm-hmm.
I would downvote the shit out of that. I wish I had read it more before I started talking.
Well, here, read this one before you say it out loud.
Oh, I already did. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Actually, I didn't. I just read the first 2 sentences.
Doug.
Okay, but it's fine. It's good. It hooked me already.
Okay.
It's by Reddit user Quiet Voice 4846, which already I don't like it. Either, like, you're an emo girl who's on DeviantArt, or, like, I don't know.
Or your salad fingers himself.
Yeah. Oh, God. Okay, let's just jump right into this and see where it takes us. Late at night, I usually go to the bathroom multiple times. There's one.
Wait, just wait.
But
wait for this.
Just, how old are you?
Okay.
But for the past 4 days, every time I go to leave, I can see myself still standing in the mirror from the corner of my eye.
What?
Yeah, that's what got me.
It terrifies me to the point where I am almost run out. What? Okay. Say this sentence doesn't make any sense.
Okay. It's because you're reading it wrong.
Oh.
It is like the other me is watching me leave the bathroom. It terrifies me to the point where I almost run out without looking directly at the mirror. I never told my husband about it because I didn't want to acknowledge it out loud. Earlier today, there's more. Earlier today, I took a nap in our bed while he sat in the chair next to it watching TV. Are you in a studio? Leave the room while your, spouse is watching TV. Jesus Christ. When I woke up, he told me that he had seen me sit up and crawl backwards to the edge of the bed and stand up in front of our bedroom door from the corner of his eye.
Holy shit. Oh my god, it's the man with the black eyes.
Yeah.
He's come to steal your identity.
Next sentence. He thought it was weird that I got up like that because I'm in the last month of my pregnancy and I can't really move so good without it hurting. So he tried talking to me. Actually, I want to stop there because he thought it was weird that I got up like that, crawling backwards to the edge of the bed. It doesn't matter the reason. That's weird.
That is weird.
I would be like...
Your husband sounds like a dumbass.
I would be like, holy fuck, holy fuck, holy fuck. And that's how you would have woken up.
Right. Or actually, it's not even that your husband sounds like he's dumb. It just sounds like... Well, how did you not think about it? Like, how did you think, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's kind of weird you're doing that because you're in the last term of your pregnancy.
But okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
No.
Look like a human, mount. Like a moving hill. So
pregnancy makes her do weird stuff.
He tried talking to her. When I didn't answer, he looked at the door to find me not there and still sleeping in bed. I got really creeped out and I finally told him about what I've been seeing in the bathroom. He thought it was creepy as well, but didn't really want to talk about it anymore because he thinks it will give whatever it is power or energy. Okay.
I mean, I guess I could understand that. If you don't acknowledge something, it can't really...
I try to do that with my student loans. I don't want to give it any power or energy.
The truth is that kids are creepy and student loans are terrifying.
The more you recognize them, and the more you recognize those quote-unquote debt collectors,
right,
the more power and energy you give them.
This is accurate.
That story was a dumpster fire from beginning to end.
I mean, it wasn't written very well, and obviously we did a very bad job of reading it.
Mm-hmm.
But...
Speak for yourself.
Okay, I did a bad job of reading it. Your wife just doesn't get up and walk backwards off of the bed on all fours.
Yeah, I don't care how pregnant she is. I punch bitch.
In the stomach.
Right.
Because kids are creepy. It's the kids making her do that.
You obviously have the spawn of Satan inside of you.
Yeah, I was going to say, what if it's a demon baby?
You committed adultery on your husband with Lucifer, Morningstar, and now the Antichrist is coming out of you.
Right, so there's two of you now. There's demon you in the mirror. Okay, but I did used to talk with my friends a lot about how mirrors... mirrors are weird alternate dimensions or whatever. It feels creepy to look into a mirror with the lights off.
It does, especially if you're high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I've heard that if you do... I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Weed. What? I've heard that if you do acid or a hallucinogen, the first time, you shouldn't look in a mirror because it'll completely trip you out. But I feel like that's also just a sense of self thing, an identity, and the lighting is different and your eyes want to look for it in the mirror, and if it's not there, it's going to make you see weird things.
When I was a kid, I actually was creeped out by mirrors.
I didn't look at them in the dark at all.
Yeah, no, they terrified me because I was always just waiting for something to be there that wasn't in reality.
Yeah.
I was also
an alternate dimension.
A dumb kid though, so I don't know.
Well, kids are creepy, so
that was, some Redditors' stories, for better or worse. But what about, You? Do you have any spooky stories?
Well, the truth is that I'm dead, and this is my ghost.
Oh my god! You're Bruce Willis. I'm Haley Joel Osment.
Oh, that's fitting.
Yeah. I want to be Bruce.
I don't think you can wear it as well as I can wear Bruce.
That's true.
If one of us is Bruce Willis, it's me.
Yeah.
So, I don't think I have any stories from my own life. Although I will say I was very scared of all of this when I was a kid. Like I said, I still actually don't. I always turn the lights on in the bathroom. I don't go to the bathroom, in the dark.
Who does? Who does that? What kind of barbarian's I don't know, I'm piss in the dark?
Well, I guess if it's nighttime and you're fuck it, I don't need to turn the light on. No, always have a nightlight.
Yeah. Or, they make those, glowing things that you put in your toilet bowl.
Yeah.
I guess if you fucking heathen don't mind just pissing in the dark, that's the least you can do.
Well, I mean, especially if you are somebody who has a wiener, you might need it to aim. I don't know. I mean, I feel like the husband in this story might be the kind of guy that would be well, it's dark, so I'll just pee. I'm just peeing.
I feel like he has a pee corner in his room.
It's just happening now. I guess I shouldn't move to the actual toilet.
Okay, but spooky stories.
But spooky
you got any?
stories. I don't think so. No, not from my own life. Well, okay, I do remember one time I was with my friend Alicia having a sleepover, and we put her little toy vanity in a tent that we made when we were little. And then at night I woke up and I looked at the vanity and I was smiling back at myself, but I was not smiling in reality.
Ooh. Okay, so it kind of ties more into the mirror thing?
Into the mirror thing. I do remember being just very scared of that, but I don't have any other stories other than that. My mom does, though.
Okay.
So my mom has a story where when she was younger, she would actually just talk to her grandfather. He would just come and sit in the rocking chair beside her bed.
I'm assuming that her grandfather was...
He was dead, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was not really there, and they would just have conversations. And it wasn't scary. It wasn't, it didn't, freak her out or anything. It was just very scary to everybody else because kids are creepy. Yeah,
kids are terrifying. Yeah, so I had a similar thing when I was a kid, apparently. Which I don't, okay, we'll get into how much I actually believe, or we believe in, spooky shit here in a minute. But, my mom told me that when I was a baby, the ghost of this woman would just, stand over me and, watch over me in my crib. And she was I was cool with it because, she was there to take care of you and watch you. And I just want to know, how hard up were you for, childcare?
I couldn't afford a nanny, so I hired a ghost.
We really lucked out in this house. There's this ghost. No. But yeah, so there's that. My mom told me about that. But when I was in high school, 10th grade, we moved into this house. And still, I cannot explain all the things that happened. You go into a house and there's a lot of noises and things, and you just have to adjust to the new house noises.
Right.
There was that. There's this one noise that I just couldn't identify.
Okay.
For ever. I was oh yeah, that's the AC turning on. That's this. That's that. And then I recognized it one day. It was the sound of something sliding over a carpet.
Okay.
And I'd hear that every night.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then there would it increased here and there, and there would be breathing coming from my closet. I could just hear, loud breathing. Mm-hmm. And then, other things started happening. My blinds would flutter. The blanket would, slowly start to get pulled off my bed while I was on it. And that actually happened a few times when, friends were sleeping over, too.
Holy shit.
And then one time, I was sitting on the toilet doing my thing. Light on. And the sink just turned on. I watched, the knob move.
And it turned on?
Yeah.
Okay, that's wild to me.
Yeah.
But here's why it's even more wild to me is that you don't believe in ghosts, but that happened to you.
Yeah, so, okay. I guess my stance isn't I firmly believe that there are no ghosts. It's I don't believe in ghosts. So I guess I think that we have this nature that goes all the way back to the beginning of humanity, that we can't understand it, we automatically assume it's something supernatural.
Yes.
And so I just, like that experience, hard to explain. I'll be honest. I do not know what happened there.
Okay.
In those times.
Yes.
However, I don't want to be like the 16th century person who says that someone's a witch because they invented medicine.
Right.
Maybe there's an answer that I don't know. Like maybe
maybe it was supernatural, maybe not.
Yeah.
But you don't want to jump shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's fair. I also feel like people who believe in ghosts are people who have had supernatural things like that have happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, I definitely don't believe in ghosts, but nothing has really ever happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no reason, there's no, like, scientifically proven ghost occurrence.
I will say I do, though, like, I love ghost stories.
Yeah.
I love scary movies. I love that, like, when I'm in bed later, I'm like, the ghost's gonna get me.
Okay, I'm the opposite. Like, I don't believe in it, but I won't watch a scary movie or, like, a paranormal anything. Because, like, if I'm wrong, I do not want to invite it into my house.
So, other things, would you do, like, tarot cards?
Nope.
Ouija board?
Nope.
Seance?
Nope.
Exorcism?
Nope.
Just naming things now that I see in movies.
I do remember, like, multiple times being invited over to, like, hey, like, I have a Ouija board, like, let's play with the Ouija board. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, absolutely fucking not. Actually,
I got invited to this thing on Halloween. I don't know if I'm going to go, but if I do, I'll report back. But it's atheists and spiritualists do a seance. And it's put on by my friend who's an atheist. And he's like, it's fun. It's fun to do this, mm-hmm. even though I don't believe that anything is going to happen.
Because if something does...
Yeah. Like, I hope it's something big, though. Like, I don't want just this run-of-the-mill haunting by this Victorian ghost who was murdered by a witch or something. Like, right. I want fucking the elder gods. Like, come at me, Cthulhu. Like, okay. I want to accidentally bring about Armageddon. Like, if I'm going to be proven wrong, I want it to be big or nothing.
Like, go all the way.
Yeah.
Well, we already are living in the apocalypse, so...
Might as well.
Maybe, like, let's just speed it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like, at this point, there's climate change, there's this, there's that. Why don't we just put Cthulhu in the mix?
Well, what do you think, like... Okay, here's a question for you. What do you think it would take for you to change your mind on supernatural things?
I think something would have to happen to me.
What scale of something?
I think it could even be something, like, small. Like, standing in a room, and then, like, doors open, or, like, chairs move.
Okay. So, like, if in theory you had that experience that I had in high school,
yeah,
you'd be 100% on the ghost train.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably. And, like, but maybe I could justify it other ways. I mean, I could look into it, and we could talk about how, like, I don't know, waves of energy and that exist in certain times and not in others could move things, but...
You know what my favorite theory is? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, but also people prank you all the time.
Yeah, all the time. Fucking Ashton Kutcher, punked ass bitch.
Yeah.
But, okay, my favorite theory right now is that maybe some of these, like, supernatural occurrences are just a side effect of, or byproduct of string theory.
Yes.
Like, we're just kind of getting a little too close to another reality.
And so they bump into each other.
Yeah, like, maybe some mofo's pulling the blanket off the bed in another reality, and whoops.
Yeah.
But that also has almost zero basis in science,
yes.
And it's just a thing that I thought.
I guess I'm with you. Like, sometimes things just happen, and that's that.
But yeah, no, I think the biggest problem I have when it comes to whether or not I believe in, supernatural ghosts, spooky shit, is I am not positive that I believe in, like, a human soul or spirit that is, like, outside of the brain and like, outside of a physical scientific explanation.
Okay, I think I kind of agree with you there. Like, I feel like when I die, I will just become something else, but I'm not necessarily, like, evaporating from my body, like, diffusing from my body and then existing as an entity.
So what will you become?
A tree, probably. Or grass. Like soil.
Compost.
Compost. Yeah, pretty much.
Or, as the British say, compost.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, no, and I feel like the thing is for me, it's just I don't believe anything 100%. Like, if you were to ask me my beliefs on supernatural things.
What are your beliefs on supernatural things?
I don't know.
Well, you seemed pretty sure when you said that kids were creepy earlier.
No, yeah, I will punt one of those across the room. Those little kids, fucking creepy, like, seeing their imaginary friends, saying weird shit about monsters.
Which is why it makes sense that one story on Reddit happened to a pregnant woman. Because kids.
What's that scary movie? The Disney Channel original movie?
Well, the one with the boogeyman under the bed?
Yeah.
I don't know, but that movie scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
That's my supernatural beliefs. Is that Lil Yachty looking motherfucker is hiding under the bed.
And he's gonna come get you. Well, when I was a kid, I never believed that, like, a ghost or something was in my closet. I believed that there could be an intruder in my home who was a person. I believed in scary people, not in scary supernatural things.
That's when my mom was, like, a single mother. Yeah. Like, she would look under the bed and, like, in every closet, and people are always like, what are you gonna do if you find someone? She's like, at least I'll know. My last moment will be of knowledge.
This is Doug's mom, who hired a ghost to take care of him when he was an infant.
Yeah, it's hard to find good help.
It is hard to find good help. Yeah. So you might as well find dead help.
Dead help. Anywho. That's a thing to say.
So that's what we feel about it. But we have friends, and we're going to pull them in, and we're going to figure out what their stories are. Yeah, so our first friend is actually the artist behind the branch logo. Right. Wil Wilcock. Tell us about yourself.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm Wil.
That was a good description. I liked it. Wil is amazing. Right. And actually our debut interview for Branch Podcast, so that's pretty cool.
So thank you for being here.
Thank you, I'm honored.
And they are the creative mind behind our logo.
Our branched logo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Came from the mind and body and spirit of Wil.
I was happy to do it.
So let's jump into it. Let's get into what your supernatural experiences are. Well, first question. Yeah. Do you believe in ghosts?
100% yes.
Okay. Tell us about your ghosts.
So my ghost story is actually a little more wholesome. Mm-hmm. It was when I was super fucking tiny, and I don't remember exactly how tiny, but I was definitely in crib age.
Okay. A creepy kid, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, creepy children.
I was definitely a creepy kid. So I woke up from a nap one day, and I saw somebody sitting in the rocking chair next to my crib. And I kind of recognized her from some of the photos around the house. So I was quick to be like, hey, okay, this isn't someone too crazy. I wasn't really past the baby jargon, but I kind of was like baby jargon, half talk. Mm-hmm. Was like, hey, who are you? Mm. And she told me that she was my abuela, and she had come from a very long ways to come see me. And I had no idea what abuela was. I had not learned that word yet, so I was just like, okay, cool. And we chatted for a little while, the best that a baby and an adult could chat. Mm-hmm. And she, after a little bit, she looked at the door, looked back at me, blew me a kiss, and just like disappeared. Like I blinked and she was gone. Ooh. And my parents ended up coming in because they were wondering what I was making all of this noise about, like who I was talking to. And I got mad at them for scaring abuela away. And they were very taken aback. I actually found out later that they were very taken aback by it because, of course, tiny me, I was off to the next thing.
You were done. Yeah.
Yes. And they were very taken aback because abuela had passed away before I was born, and in fact, before they got married.
Wow. Yeah, so like a while before this encounter. It wasn't like your abuela just passed and then you saw her.
Mm-hmm. It had been a ways.
Which means that it's like those, love transcends all bounds things, but she's not only keeping tabs on you, but on the whole family.
I love that sort of idea. Like you get a lot of these stories, like ghost stories that are, family members, like a grandparent, a great grandparent, even a parent or somebody like that a loved one that is just here to watch over you, or like watch over the future generations. Like, I think that is very nice. Like,
it is very nice.
It's a very nice thing to think about, that, you know, you're being taken care of by the family that's gone before you.
I mean, Doug was raised by a ghost.
I was completely raised. I didn't even know my mother. I thought all adults were translucent.
But what's interesting, though, about it, and it might be something to convince me who is hard of believing, is that we all have a story like this. Like, it happened to you personally, it happened to you personally, Doug, and it happened to my mom. And I've heard about it from more than one person surrounding my mother. So it's like, this is a thing that tends to happen to people, where loved ones come back to check on grandchildren. Like, grandparents always want grandbabies, so even if they're not physically in this realm, they're gonna see them grandbabies.
They're still pressuring for them grandbabies.
Right.
Yeah. And my abuela was actually blind. So she actually did come from a very long ways away in order to come see me, quote unquote, see me.
Yeah.
But.
So my question, I feel like my first question is, where do you think when she said she came from a long ways away, like, in your just mind, what do you think that long ways away, like, where did she come from?
So, I don't know exactly. That's something that interests me a lot, is where do spirits come from? I feel like if you talk to my dad, he's very, very religious, and my abuela is basically the guardian angel for our family.
Okay.
So my dad would definitely say that, you know, she traveled from heaven to come see me. I think, I mean, that kind of gets into a whole different conversation, but like whatever the afterlife was, she definitely traveled from there to wherever I was.
I kind of like the idea of not knowing, though. I like it as far away.
Yeah.
Well, and I like that. And I appreciate your answer a whole lot, because I think it's easy for us, and I said this earlier this episode, for when we don't know things, to just slap an answer on it. And it's easy to be like, she obviously just came from heaven. Like, you know, and so it is kind of nice to have this healthy sense of mystery about it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you try to act like you know everything, you're just going to sound like a know-it-all, because there are so many things that you don't know. And
Did you hear that, Maddie?
If there's anybody who knows it all, it's Maddie. So has anything like this, has your abuela visited you in your adult life?
No, unfortunately. I have kind of lost that. I feel like as a child, you have so much more of a connection with spirits or supernatural experiences than you do as an adult, because as an adult, you mature, your brain changes, you're not as open to the entire world as you see it. Okay. You're more open to the world as you know it.
Okay.
So... unfortunately, I have not been able to see my abuela again, except for in photos.
Okay. Do you feel like she's still there, like, looking out for you, or?
Yeah, I definitely, with that experience as a kid, I definitely feel like she would be, like, my quote-unquote guardian angel. Do
you think there's times she's looking that you'd rather her not?
Yes.
Well, it's interesting to me, and I had mentioned this to you only moments ago, but before we started recording, that what's cool is that when you think about different experiences that you've had, or when you see things over and over again, you start to get primed for those experiences just to pick up on them if they happen again in the future. So somebody who is into ghosts and really looks into that kind of thing is going to see ghosts more than like I would or Doug would, since we don't really give credence to a lot of that energy per se. But it's interesting that this happened to you as a kid, and that memory is so strong that you would remember it from a period of time where, like, a lot of people don't have memory, and yet it's still very vivid to you. Do you remember what she looked like in the room?
So she wasn't translucent.
Dang it. I was really hoping she was.
She didn't have like a blue hue or like she had an energy about her. I don't know how else to describe it than just like an energy. It didn't feel like she was actually there. Okay. I could see her, but I mean, as a child, I just kind of guessed that, you know, she was just another adult.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I saw her as an adult, then I would be like, something's wrong here. This is not a real person. But as a kid, I was just like, oh, cool. Abuela, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
So she just looked like another adult to me.
Okay. But had this energy about her that made it different.
Did it feel like almost like it was just a projection, like and not like an actual person, like Star Wars era hologram?
Yeah, she felt like that is exactly it. She felt like a hologram. She felt like her presence was there. So take the visual of a hologram and put that into a feeling.
Okay.
And that's what it felt like when she was there.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't solid 100%. My abuela is in the room. But it was more like I could feel her being there. I never touched her. I never reached out to her or anything like that. So I never got to see if my hand would go through her or anything like that.
Yeah.
Too bad.
I know. Missed opportunity.
Yeah.
But
stupid crib.
But yeah, so I lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
We're gonna jump into. Would you have any other questions?
I feel like I do. Well, not a question so much like, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I think of holograms now, like immediately all I think of is when they made a hologram of Tupac Shakur at Coachella like 8 years ago.
I do not remember this.
We'll look it up.
Okay. All right, that's the end of that.
That's it.
All I can think of now is help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Now think of Tupac Shakur doing that.
Okay, I like it.
In the Princess Leia outfit.
Perfect. Which brings us into our next segment called
It definitely does.
Aliens. Will.
Yeah, well, like you have a second experience from when you were at a more memorable age.
Yes. So my second experience was from high school, and I guess I'll preface it by saying I grew up in a super teeny tiny farm town, northeast Kansas. So there were a lot of barns, there were a lot of farms, a lot of agriculture in general. And it was one night after play practice after high school, my sister and I, who was a year younger than me, were coming home, and it was dark. It was a full moon, so there weren't any stars out, but it was still pretty dark out. And I live on this gravel road that's outside of town. You have to turn onto this gravel road in order to get to my house. And there's we have neighbors, but they're quite a few miles away from us. So we can see if their house light is on, then we can see a house light or something like that, but we can't really see their house or anything. So we turn onto this gravel road to go home, and we see this light that's up ahead, this little circular bright light, and at first we think, oh, it's a barn light, nothing strange, but then we realize that it's in the center of the road and kind of off the ground, and a little higher than what a barn light should be. And as soon as we realize that, oh, that's strange, and we communicate that to each other, it just shoots upward and disappears.
Oh yeah, it does. Oh, that's awesome.
It was like, oh, okay, I guess that happened, and it was just so strange, and we had no explanation for it except for aliens.
Well, I can't help but to think that you guys acknowledging it to one another, verbally, audibly, and then it disappearing, that's not a coincidence.
Yeah, it definitely lends credibility to it. But just for people who did not grow up on gravel roads out in the country, when you say a barn light, give us some sort of idea of how high that is, and then how high up you think that light must have been then.
Yeah, so a barn light would probably be equal to a typical street light in the city. So if you were driving down the road,
20 feet maybe.
Yeah, about 20 feet. And this one I would say is about 10 to 15 feet higher than that.
So it's pretty far up. It would have to be a big barn, and it would have to be right in the middle of your street.
Yes.
Okay. Or if it is just a light, it would have to be a really big light for it to emit the light that it was showing.
It was extremely bright. It was a lot brighter than when you see a barn light. It's about the brightness of a street light, one of those orange street lights that's been around for a little while.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a barn light. And then when you see this light in the sky, it looked like an LED. It was super freaking bright.
And so aliens. Like, pretty sure. Like,
Doug is doing the whole thing. Doug is doing the meme. You can't see him, but he's doing the aliens meme.
You guys saw it in your mind's eye.
You guys know. So we also know that at this time period, there are no drones or anything in and around this area.
Yes. My town in particular was very, very behind on the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first drone maybe arrived in 2017, 2018.
Okay. So that's, but you're pretty sure, like, it had to be aliens. Like,
I'm about 75% sure that it was aliens, maybe 85% sure, and the rest of it may be something supernatural, paranormal type of thing.
Okay.
But I am mostly sure that it was aliens.
So did you, go back and investigate it all? Like, did you, Mulder and Scully it?
So we did go out that night. We grabbed some flashlights and we were looking up in the sky, seeing if we could see anything. We didn't get the chance to go and investigate that area that we saw the light the next day, but we knew the area pretty well. We're pretty accustomed to it and we knew who lived around there. So we went to our neighbor and we were like, hey, did you guys set off fireworks or something last night? And they were like, no, we were all asleep because it was pretty late. It was around 10:30, 11 p.m.
Okay.
So everybody was winding down for the night. So we did a little bit of an investigation, but we could never find anything that made sense other than
aliens.
Aliens.
So in this scenario, do you think that you were Mulder or your sister was Mulder? Who was Scully?
I wouldn't say I was Scully.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just because I love Scully.
Yeah, Scully is the better one to be.
Absolutely.
And your sister's not here, so...
Yeah.
Yes. She'll hear it later, and she'll be like,
no, I'm Scully.
So, your sister is 1 year beneath you, but you said that your sister is kind of the bridge between our worlds. She's very in touch with, the spiritual realm.
Yes.
So do these kinds of experiences happen to her still in adulthood, or has it waned for her as well?
Absolutely, it still happens for her. She sees all sorts of stuff. She will be able to see who she believes is your quote-unquote spirit guide.
Okay.
She can see if it takes the form of a hawk, or if it takes the form of a bear or something like that. It's almost very tribal in essence. But she also sees a lot of ghosts. She sees a lot of spirits. She sees a lot of orbs. She sees all of those really spooky things, and she's gotten very accustomed to them. I'm slightly jealous.
Well, I'm wondering now if it's maybe the trait for a connection with such things is a genetic one, because you guys are related and you've had the experience with your abuela, and then now she's off in the spirit world. So maybe there's a connection there. Do you, Doug, you have siblings, do your siblings have any kind of crazy stories?
I don't know. I mean, I imagine maybe my brother does, but I just don't know them.
Okay.
But yeah, no, nothing that I can think of. But we're not a family that really has ever given a lot of credence to that outside of the few things that have happened here and there. I know my mom heartily believes in ghosts.
Okay.
But I don't know. So I don't know where to give your genetics thing.
I don't know where to go with it either, because my mom believes in the guardian angels and this and that, and that's what she sort of chalked up her grandfather coming to visit her when she was a baby, or when she was a little kid, to. But she doesn't have any siblings, so there's nobody that I can go and be did you have an experience like this? For me to test that theory in my own family, because my brothers don't have anything supernatural that's happened to them either.
Well, and I guess, so my question is, too, just on the other side of the coin, we talked a lot about, what supernatural things you could believe that these things are. But do you think that, well, I guess actually more, what is your thought on if there are possibly, other explanations?
If there's another explanation, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm open to anything. I love scientific stuff. I love paranormal stuff. I'm pretty much drawn to anything that cannot be explained.
Yeah.
I love trying to figure out explanations for them and just reveling in the unknown. Yeah. I think it's super cool.
Yeah.
So.
It is fun.
Yeah, I think it is fun, and I think it's it's fun to approach it without answers too. Like it's really cool to be like, what the fuck? I don't know. Like, you know?
Yeah. That is really interesting. I guess that's what is fun about discussing it too, is that the stories don't have an explanation. This is a thing that happened as an isolated event and we cannot explain it. And then we just go and live life like normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I like that your stories are very separate. You have a loved one who's passed away who's come to, almost like greet you into this world. And then you have, a floating orb of light that could be extraterrestrial, could be supernatural, could be something else all entirely. But, it really shows the breadth of experience that people have. It's not just like, the door slammed shut and nobody was there to shut it, which is spooky in its own right. Or that story that we shared earlier from Reddit where this woman kept seeing her reflection in the mirror after she had walked away from the mirror, which spooky. But it's not. It's not just the same old thing. So I really appreciate you bringing such a fresh, unique story to us.
Yeah, it was my pleasure.
Oh, where can the people find you on the interwebs?
Yes, so I post mainly on Instagram. It's at tiniest star with a period in between. So tiniest.star.
Cool. Yeah, everybody go follow them right now. Stop what you're doing. You can play this podcast and do it, so don't stop that.
Follow the creative mind behind our logo.
Yeah, and
it's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it. Go see other art and things. I follow you, but I
be cultured and believe in ghosts.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Will.
Stay spooky.
All right, so that was really interesting.
That was very interesting. I think my favorite part was the alien story.
Okay, yeah. I'm a sucker for a good alien story,
right?
And while I feel like I am like a consummate skeptic, which, by the way, I just feel like the world needs.
Right.
Us skeptics.
All the time.
I think that what's easier for me to believe is aliens.
Versus ghosts.
Yeah, because the universe is a big old place.
Mathematically speaking, it would make
there's
a lot of
aliens
sense.
out there somewhere.
Yes.
I don't know why they're here, why they would want to be here.
To listen to our podcast,
Doug. Oh my god, yeah. And to be fair, like, her story happened pre-2016.
Right.
I don't think anybody wants to visit this planet after that.
Maybe they want to just come and see, like, they're studying, like, what does ruin look like right before it happens? Since it is the apocalypse.
As it's happening.
Yes.
They came here at the end of the Roman Empire, and they're come again now.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And also right after McDonald's introduced its all-day breakfast.
Okay, personally, I don't really like the all-day breakfast.
Okay, you know what? So this is more of a correlation, I think.
Yeah.
But I did notice that when the all-day breakfast came around, they got rid of their bagel sandwiches.
Which is a sign of aliens.
Like, that was the best thing on their goddamn breakfast menu.
I want burgers all day. Like, I want a burger at 9 a.m. more than I want breakfast at 9 a.m.
Let me tell you, like, I got there at 10:25.
Yeah.
And all I wanted was a double quarter pounder with cheese. And they told me I had to wait 5 minutes. That's ludicrous. And it's not ludicrous, like, in a, like, entitled sort of way. Like, I get it, but, like, also, why? What is different in 5 minutes than right now? Like,
well, they're still prepping, probably.
You can't make a burger? How hard is it?
No doubt. Well, the answer is they have to pull the burgers in from a different dimension because...
Oh my god, they have pocket dimensions.
Well, because you remember, that makes a lot of sense for McDonald's.
I don't remember how that makes a lot of sense.
Because it's McDonald's, and it exists everywhere at all times, in all points of history and space. But the thing is you remember in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you remember the dolphins and the mice?
Oh my god, yeah, things? And So Long and Thanks for All the Fish. Yes.
So Long and Thanks for All the Fish. I feel like McDonald's is running the world, which is why they're aliens.
Yep, oh god. Okay.
Alright. It was gonna be something.
But I do like, and we talked about this with Will, I love their story about, like, a family member watching over them. Right. It's very sweet, It
is.
But, like, it's very sweet, and it's, I personally still do not believe that happens.
Yeah. I believe something happened, though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe that... I think that these experiences are something. I just don't know if I would say, like, that's definitively a ghost.
Yeah. And, like, yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Will, made it up. Or,
no, something definitely happened.
Tiny toddler Will had a psychotic break. Maybe.
Probably not.
I feel like all toddlers are having a psychotic break, actually.
Toddlerhood just is one psychotic break. But what's convincing about it, and I said this during the interview, is that it's a lot of people have these experiences with family members coming in and checking on them after they have passed. And so there's something to it. There is an experience that is happening. I just don't know.
Yeah. Maybe it's like time is not the linear thing that we think it is, and it's kind of overlapping.
Right.
Maybe it's like alternate dimensions. Maybe it's ghost.
Maybe it's aliens.
Maybe it's aliens pretending to be ghosts.
Right.
Who are from alternate dimensions. Oh my god.
Right. Like
Cracked it wide open.
I mean, I would give more credence to an idea of, like, different ethereal planes that are actually other dimensions, and there are other ways in which these two places can bleed into one another. Mm-hmm. But I have no idea.
Have we discussed the idea that it could be a glitch in the simulation?
That I buy.
Yeah, absolutely. What weirdly, established scientific group was saying that they believe it could all be a simulation?
I don't remember, but I remember the argument for it was something along the lines of, once we are able to create an artificially simulated reality, the likelihood of us existing within one goes up exponentially. Which is a very hard sentence to wrap your mind around. But if you give yourself a minute to think about it, it does make sense.
Like, my caveman brain wants to call bullshit. But, I don't know, maybe. It makes sense. We are somebody's Sims game, and they are fucking with us hardcore.
Okay, but it makes a lot of sense. I watched Doug glitch earlier, and it was...
I just kept, walking right into the wall.
That's good old Doug.
I didn't know what I was doing. Anyway, we have another person that we're going to interview.
We do.
And we're keeping our theme of interviewees whose names start with a W and who are cool.
Right.
And also have contributed some way to this podcast already.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Wick does our music.
Yeah, our intro and outro music is done by the fantastic Kansas City local band Wick and the Tricks. And we are about to interview Wick Thomas, frontman.
Yes.
And namesake of Wick and the Tricks.
Yes. All right, so we are now bringing in our next guest, Frankenstein's monster.
It's actually like Frankenstein's monster, but it was made up of just various parts of all nymphomaniacs.
So here's Wick.
I'm sitting right here.
Let's bring him in.
It's like
yes.
Where is he?
Is this an insult podcast? I just wasn't told about it.
I think that was a compliment.
Yeah.
Oh. Being a bunch of nymphomaniac
it's
corpses.
a spooky compliment.
Yes, we never said that you were, bad nymphomaniac.
Yeah, you were one of the good ones. Like the Shia LaBeouf movie. Actually, that was not a great example.
What?
The movie Nymphomaniac.
Shia LaBeouf's not real.
I agree.
No, he's not.
He's
figment.
It's just a series of holograms.
If I could bring us back to aliens for just a moment.
Oh my god.
Shia LaBeouf.
Okay, that's actually a good case for aliens. We were talking about aliens just previous to this.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't here for that, everyone.
No, we just brought you in. Good.
To be fair, I was an hour late.
Yes.
Yes.
Facts. Okay.
But he brought food. Okay. So, moving into your spooky story.
This is a good podcast.
And it's So this should be a good, a real fun hot take for both Doug and I. We have not heard this story yet.
Me either.
Okay. So let's see what happens when Wick starts talking now.
Oh no. Hey everybody.
What you got for us?
I've got a lot, but I can't show it on audio.
It's an audio medium.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna. So I was thinking about you asked about spooky stories I had, and I was just gonna make something up. That was my original plan. I'm not gonna lie.
Good.
But then I thought about it more, and I do have a kind of spooky story. I don't know. I don't know if I believe in ghosts or demons or any kind of afterlife or any of that. Mm-hmm. But when I was, I think, 17, I was driving an SUV home on a country highway, and I fell asleep at the wheel. My friend was in the back seat. I fell asleep at the wheel. We took out a power line, 2 full-size trees, and ended up underwater in a creek.
Damn.
Whoa!
In the car.
Whoa!
Yeah. Not.
So is the spooky story that you're a ghost?
Right, I told you.
Oh, yeah.
Just gonna disappear right now.
Welcome, both twins from
It would
China.
just be really funny if you just stopped talking and then everybody listening, like all 4 of them, really thought you disappeared.
Did we fool you all?
Anyway.
Yeah, so that was spooky in and of itself, right? But I was wearing my seatbelt. I fell asleep. I heard a loud crash. Opened my eyes. Everything's green. Next thing I know, everything's black, and I'm on my side. And my first thought is, I'm alive. Like, I can still think, so I must be alive. And then immediately after that thought, water came rushing in the car. I was like, I'm not alive. I'm not alive.
I might not be alive for long.
Because it's still my seatbelt. So I struggled to get the seatbelt off. I found that the back passenger window had been broken open. So I was able to climb over the seat and out the car that way. And that back passenger window was broken open because my friend who was asleep in the back seat was not wearing her seatbelt. And she was asleep, was sent through that window, somehow in the perfect way to not kill her.
Oh my gosh.
So neither of us probably should have survived that, but we both did. And she was real bruised up, and I thought she had lost her eye when I first saw her, because when we finally got to a light, just all I could see was red, and it was just so inflamed, and I thought she lost an eye. And she was in shock because she was also asleep, right? And she wakes up in a creek.
The worst way to wake up.
Flying through a window in a creek, landing in a creek. So not great. But so she was in total shock, and she just kept talking about her shoe the whole time, and I was so annoyed. Just because I went into crisis mode, right? And I saw a light in the distance, and so I was just like, we have to get to that light. There's a light over there. We have to go toward that because we're out in the country too, and so there's nothing around.
Can I interject and say, listeners, in a harrowing situation, don't go towards the light. Don't do it.
It's a spooky podcast.
Okay, you're right. Okay, continue.
Again, I knew I was alive at this point, so yeah, I was walking. It was very wet.
Maniac Wick.
Heaven shouldn't be this wet. Neither nor should hell. So either way, I knew I was still on Earth. But yeah, so we walked to the light. The whole time she has no idea what's happening. She's just asking where her shoe is because she had lost her shoe in the wreck. And so she's just the whole time. I would explain it. I'd be like, your shoe's back there. We have to go to that light. We have to go right now. Come on, And every time she would do it, every time I would explain what was happening, she would just be like, "Where's my shoe at?" Just oh my god. So we walked a mile, right? Walked a mile to this house, and of course, we get there and they're freaked out because it's 2 a.m. or something, and we're just banging, screaming at their door. They let us in though. Luckily, it was a nurse who lived there. Unluckily, the telephone pole we took out was their telephone pole.
Oh, shit. And
we're out in the country, and so they can't really get reception. But they finally do. They finally call 911 and call our parents and stuff. And we're out in the country again, so the ambulance gets there way after our parents do. So she's just lying on the porch bleeding this whole time. Oh, but we both survived. But the spooky part about this, right, though, and it's something I actually haven't told a lot of people, but is that while I was driving, it's a country highway, so it's 60 miles, 55 miles an hour, and it's completely dark out there. And I remember in the headlights, right before I fell asleep, I was like, doing the thing. Also, if you're ever about to fall asleep, please just pull over or call someone or something. Because it is incredibly dangerous. I know from experience.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
But the whole time I remember, like, I had the brights on and the beams of light in the road, the way that they hit on the gravel, like on the on the highway, the shadows that they cast formed this like face of like a demon-looking thing. Ooh. The whole time, and it didn't matter where or like how where I went, it was just the shadows always cast that same face in the same place the whole time.
Wow.
And that's the last thing I remember before I fell asleep and crashed the car, was just this face that was following in the shadows, like, as we were driving.
Wow. So that went from, like, harrowing to terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, my name's Wick.
So, if there was something, like, following you in the shadows, let's say, like, what do you think that is, and how does that relate to what actually happened?
I joked about it at the time. I was much more self-important at the time, but joked that there was something out there, some force trying to kill me, and some force trying to save me that was just not quite as good.
Yeah. Well, everyone's more
angel that's like, oh shit, yeah, I gotta
get up really quick. Hang on.
I totally forgot.
Everyone's more self-important at 17.
Right.
Like, when Lord was 17, she said that it's the most intelligent time of your life, which is the most 17-year-old thing anyone's ever said.
That's cute.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, so like now that you're not 17, like what do you think? Like, what's your theories?
I don't really know. It's something that's, because again, I don't really like have much belief in any of that, any kind of afterlife, but I don't know, trick of the brain or something actually trying to kill me. I'm not really sure, but
what do you think is the coolest thing you think it could be?
Demon.
You're right.
I'm destined for something great, and the demon's trying to stop me.
You have to fight the demon.
I like it.
Or maybe it's like maybe it was a cool demon. He was like trying to warn me.
Maybe
maybe it's a bored demon just trying to like just fuck. There's one,
right?
Like a god of mischief of some kind. Like maybe it's like old mythology.
Ooh, some of the old gods.
Yeah. Coming out of the woodwork on this country road.
That makes sense.
They're probably
hanging out there.
I like that there's a theme happening in our spooky stories.
But they're all happening in the country.
They're all happening in the country, which sort of reaffirms a long-standing belief that the country is scary.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, that has to be true, right? Because in the previous segment where we talked about with family member visiting, and I said that happened to my mom, you said it happened to you, Doug, and it happened to Will as well. All three of those experiences were out in the country.
I'm not sure if mine was. I don't know where I lived.
You weren't?
At the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was in the city, actually. But we can say it was in the country for the sake of the
my
podcast.
theory.
Yeah.
For the sake of the podcast.
Yeah, but no, the country is actually just creepier, though.
Yes.
I went back to visit my family who lives, like, nowhere.
Yes.
I mean, they've lived. They're alive. Like,
Oklahoma's a real place.
I don't know. I don't. Have you been there? But I at night. I live in the city. I'm used to like all these noises, sirens, people getting stabbed, that kind of thing.
City stuff.
Yeah, city stuff. And when I went to visit, there was like nothing. It was just like I was living in a vacuum, and it was terrifying. Like, I could easily believe that there's a demon out there just stalking country roads waiting to, I don't know, fuck with Wick. Like, yeah.
Right.
What kind of vacuum did you live in?
It was a Dyson.
Oh.
It was a nice one. Yeah.
That's good.
They never lose suction. Also, when I was younger, I thought that they said they never use suction, and I was like, what do they do?
I think that should be your tagline. Never loses suction.
Okay, but
it's
true.
Sorry, you knew that this would happen when you invited me.
It's good. It's fine.
It's a spooky podcast, but it never does lose suction.
Yeah. Lots of sucking.
Nor do I.
Right.
Yeah.
Doug's actually attached to the microphone right now.
I'm like a leech, honestly.
But here's my question with the country atmosphere giving way to a lot more experiences like this is that two things. One, the human brain is primed to see faces in everything, because that's how we communicate with other members of our species, right? So, my question to you then would be, would you buy that as a scientific explanation what happened to you was that you were tired, it was dark, and your brain was looking in the pieces of light that you had to find a face? And maybe it was dark, so you associated it with scary.
Yeah. And I think, that's totally possible. I think the thing that sticks out in my mind, though, is that it traveled with me. It wasn't, like, contingent upon the rocks in the road. It just, like, followed.
Literally
everywhere. And it was the same exact thing?
Yeah, and in the same spot. Like, the shadows just always cast on the road.
Interesting.
In the same, and I very easily could have just tricked the light and, being tired. But it's even then, I still think if that is the explanation, that it was still my brain trying to warn me, or something.
Yeah, that something bad might be happening.
About to happen.
Do you believe, and if you don't believe per se in supernatural things or whatever, would you believe in like omens or miracles or things like that?
I think in the way in which sometimes really cool random stuff happens. Like,
so that's a no.
Like, I think miracles have happened, but they're, probably explainable.
Yes.
I think this will be a fun thing. Not that I'm not taking your story seriously. It's that maybe the idea of this demonic face following you is so terrifying that I need to make a lot of jokes about it. I think it would be a fun idea to just bounce off and say different possibilities of what it could be.
Okay.
I will start.
Okay.
It was kind of a la the Brendan Fraser mummy whenever Imhotep made a face in the sand.
Yeah.
Trying to eat you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Swallow the car?
Yeah.
But I wrecked it first.
Got you.
So
Take that, demon.
But maybe it was a survival tactic. Maybe the demon was coming for you and you were in like a heightened state subconsciously. So you were like, fuck you, and you drove off the road.
Yeah, take that.
Because they can't go in the water.
Well, wait, what?
They can't. That's a rule. You've not.
Can't go in the water. Then I decided
said
just
it so
now.
matter of factly.
You're like, oh, yes.
Yeah. Wait, I don't know that actually. Also, I don't know, or I could have just wanted to kill that raccoon. So the next day we went back, right? Because I had turned this SUV into a pile of scrap metal. Like it was unrecognizable as the car, and we took out again 2 trees and a power line. But when we went back the next day to get the car out with a tow truck and everything.
Yes.
I went down in the path, and I feel so bad about it still. But there was just a little raccoon that had been run over perfectly, in the path.
Do you think that?
So maybe I just wanted to kill that raccoon.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe the raccoon was the
subconsciously were trying to make some money on scrap metal.
Perhaps.
It wasn't my car though, so yeah.
I mean, I didn't say it was a good plan.
Yeah.
Insurance would vastly outweigh the money that you would make with scrap metal.
One more. Do you think that maybe it was just a man running very fast and just
keeping up with the car?
Keeping up with the car and running around it.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah. Trying to warn you about a raccoon. He was like, don't hit it. Hey, don't hit it. He was not good at his job.
Man, everyone was trying to save that raccoon.
But you.
Yeah.
So,
and maybe it was the future ghost of the raccoon.
Just being
that could be.
You bitch.
Going back in time to haunt me.
Whoa. That's what ghost raccoons sound like.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think I like the idea of it being some kind of omen and some kind of a human form being like, this could get very bad very quickly.
Maybe do something.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever noticed that there's not animal ghosts?
There are animal ghosts. We just don't have them in the Western culture.
What? Why are you saying things like they're fact?
Because that is fact. What are you talking about? A lot of other cultures and things have a lot of different kinds of animal ghosts and spirits.
Oh.
Yeah.
So how far down does that go? Are there single cell organisms that have ghosts?
That have ghosts.
Spooky.
And if so, what is their unfinished business?
Coming back how
I didn't
swim
split asexually.
Second Tilo phase.
Well, it just depends. We have to remember all of those spirits and things come from a place of social storytelling. So
no, they come from like dead stuff.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I don't know what you know.
Guys, I know science things.
Maddie's actually, over the course of this episode, become a shaman.
I am.
Excuse me, shop person.
Thank you. I did study witchcraft.
We all studied witchcraft.
Yeah, we all listened to Fleetwood Mac.
Maddie is not special. I get it, but Wick is special because Wick survived this encounter.
Actually,
I mean, I didn't really do much. Yeah. I just kind of didn't die.
Just special.
I want to throw out one more thing that is not related to anything Wick said.
Okay.
But it's related to the occult.
It's been so great to be here, guys.
So I was at a haunted house the other day. Like a paid to go in haunted house, not like a house with ghosts.
Not like a grinder and hookup. Sorry.
And I got ghosted, but I was already there. A haunted house.
I was the ghost.
I was the ghost. But anyway, I walked into one of the rooms, and they had this like guy in a mask, like, and the floor was a Ouija board, and he was like swinging on the giant finger thing.
So it was a grinder hookup.
So far. And like, honestly spooky. Like, it was spooky, but I kept thinking, like, what if you accidentally summon something? Because he's just like swinging over the Ouija board.
In like a perfect pentagram shape.
Oh, whoops.
And then we figured out that the occult is onto something.
Right.
Just open up a portal to hell.
Well, it could. I also want to go back to the idea of it being an old god, because we all remember the craft, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
How dare you even ask that question?
I'm actually really surprised that young Maddie remembers the craft.
I watched it for the first time a couple weeks ago. So.
I wish everybody could see Wick's face.
Wick is just full of hate and loathing towards the
I remember the craft from when I watched it 14 days ago.
Tricky.
So,
tricky.
But what's the name of like the god or like being or person that has the magic in that movie?
Manuel.
Yes. So here's my other theory, and borrowing from the craft.
I knew it was in there.
There were 4 teenage girls performing some kind of seance in and around the area that you were driving through, and they in fact summoned something, and that's what you saw, and then you crashed the car.
Ooh,
I like that. That's the one.
Okay,
so
that's it.
Yeah. I feel like that fits well with your vibe. Yeah. Especially how angry you got at me because I just learned about the craft.
It's a very good movie, Maddie.
Also, like, the craft is actually proof that you're not born gay. You choose to watch the craft and then become a homosexual.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how it happens.
Yeah. On all sides of it.
No.
Yeah, you're just queer now.
So we would like every member of the community that is
to the
watching
guardian
this
of
podcast,
the Watchtower of the East.
watch the craft and then listen to our podcast.
Like, Neve Campbell is actually proof that I know that I'm gay, because if I wasn't, I would have a hella crush on her. Like, I know I would.
Yeah.
Also, if you go back and rewatch that movie, she kind of sucks.
She does.
If you go back and watch that movie, it's very problematic.
I did just watch. I did just rewatch all the Scream movies.
Yeah.
So that was fun. It was a good time.
Was it?
We need to end this interview.
Yeah.
Rude. Again, I'm still here. I'm right here.
Let's say all of our least favorite things about Wick.
I knew that's what this would be.
Do we have all day?
Wow. I've only known you like 2 months.
Hey, thanks for coming on our podcast. But really, thank you for coming on our podcast.
Yes.
Everybody, go listen on Spotify to Wick and the Tricks. And, or go back to the beginning of this episode or to the end of this episode and listen to like 15 seconds of Wick and the Tricks. I feel like that's all you really need.
No, you should listen to much more than 15 seconds.
They're very good. And if you live in Kansas City, go see them. Or if you live anywhere else, like them on Facebook, and they might be there at some point.
We'll totally be there.
Yeah, and you should see them because their show is a wonderful spectacle. I think we've actually talked about in a previous episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's a lot to see.
So, anyways,
I ride around a lot.
And when I watch, so do I. Anyway, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah.
All right. So that concludes the first round of interviews for our
Spook-tacular that we've ever done.
But yes.
And honestly, I loved it. I feel like we maybe took a lot of the bite out of what was a really spooky story. But,
We do what we do.
yeah, it's fine.
Yes. We also didn't totally go through a whole bunch of branches, per se, for this episode. But I feel like we went a lot of different...
Our Spook-tacular.
Yeah, we went a lot of different directions with the occult and spooky. We have 3 different kinds of experiences.
We have 3 different spookies.
We have 3 different kinds of spookies.
Wait, I think 4, if you count my own.
Yes. Plus the 5th, which would be the ones that we found on the internet.
And the 6th, having to listen to this episode.
And the 7th is we were all creepy children at one point, so...
Yeah. Yeah. Children are creepy. Country is creepy. Ghosts are creepy.
No one is safe.
Maddie is creepy.
Maddie is so creepy. Doug is not. Doug is very unintimidating and not creepy.
That's true. I actually, when people meet me, the one thing they say is, he is not creepy.
The highest of compliments.
I called you a gangly Spider-Man yesterday.
I feel like Wick is still here. Like,
That's
I can
'cause Wick
still hear his
is a
voice.
ghost that haunts the podcast.
Like, it's like I can still hear his voice.
Okay, but like low-key though, that's the joke. That's the thing. Wick, from now on, you are the ghost
Yeah.
that haunts the podcast.
Yeah.
We're just going to interject
Yeah.
so often.
You're like, hey, spooky point of
I feel like
order.
we've tried to make jokes stick, but I feel like this is the one.
Yes.
Like, we kind of have forgotten about
Elon Musk.
my desire to kill Elon Musk.
Right.
It's a thing.
Just let that hang.
I wouldn't say that on a computer.
It's already aired.
Goodbye.
Bye.
We tagged him on it on Twitter.
Yeah, we did.
We just like openly threatened him and then
We
like,
did.
Hey, listen to our podcast. That's
we
great.
did. Like, we threatened him a lot in one episode.
We did. It was a lot.
But now Wick is our ghost.
Wick is our ghost. Okay, so that's what the takeaway.
Hashtag Wick is a ghost.
Hashtag Wick is a ghost. So thanks for listening to our Spook-tacular Spoopy-sode.
And remember, on Halloween, when you're going door to door, don't say trick or treat when you only want treats.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a good piece of advice.
Thank you.
Don't say trick or treat and then be mad when someone tricks you.